Gentlemen, a series of conversation between men for men to talk about taboo subjects like emotion, behavior, culture, and mental health, just to name a few, in hopes to encourage men to embrace their authentic self and reclaim their emotional being. So join me to bring back the gentle in men. Welcome to another chapter of Gentlemen. We have a new guest with us, my dear brother Hussain. I would love to hear what he has to say. It's been a while, so I would love to hear the updates of this story. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Hussain Haji. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a small company called Integrab. We run a product called the Looney. I was just talking actually before getting here to someone saying that there's this classification of serial entrepreneur, which I really don't like, but apparently I am that classification.
Okay.
I've actually launched a couple of startups that failed miserably, and then I launched a couple of startups that I was able to sell successfully, and I currently run my fifth business, hopefully achieving the big dream as well going forward.
No, I love it. No, well, I'm happy to have you here because of this specific point. We have a lot of people, especially who's getting so intrigued about entrepreneurship, the business mindset, the hustle game, and the problem is they tend to forget themselves. They tend to fall into the dilemma that success is every single thing, even if you compromise on your life, your family, your social network, or let's say everything to do with you as a being. Let's talk a little bit about that.
For sure. Actually, I fell trapped to that mistake myself. I think it was my first business that I launched. By the way, the day I launched that business, I had already quit a job that was paying me somewhere along the lines of $10,000 to $15,000 a month. I had a small baby girl as well that I had to take care of. So I took a massive leap and jumped into it. So I immediately thought that the only way for it to actually get somewhere is for me to spend the majority of my time in that business and not give any attention to myself, my family. I gained a ton of weight. I'm not that thin now, but back then, trust me, if you knew me back then, I gained a ton of weight. I was literally a walking ball, more or less. And I do understand that, yes, a lot of startup founders or business founders generally, they tend to forget everything around them and focus only towards that success. I want to achieve that massive success. But then again, success doesn't necessarily come by just, tiring yourself and stressing yourself out most of the time. Yes, it is stressful to run a business, but you got to understand that you got to set up your schedule properly. Otherwise, how are you going to be able to live? If you see the majority of successful people in the world today, they look healthy, they are healthy, and they take proper care of themselves. They're very well groomed, and it's not because they have money. It's not the money thing, right? It's majority of it is they actually value taking care of themselves, because if they are not healthy, their business is not going to be healthy.
True.
So I learned that the hard way.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Eventually, I would say the only guaranteed ROI is self-investment. Starting with yourself, your health and well-being, you're the driving force of the whole business.
Yeah.
So if you fail, everything else fails.
Exactly.
Before we tap into anything else, you mentioned something very specific when it came to taking the leap and being influenced by the whole idea of entrepreneurship and how the shiny like the shiny rock that they kind of call entrepreneur being the best thing you could ever follow. Once you took that leap, I know there's a lot of things come with it, as you mentioned, especially families. Were you newlywed back then? Or?
I had a baby girl, so I was a year into my marriage.
Okay.
And a year and a half approximately,
Okay.
and I had actually not a year and a half. I was 2 years in my marriage. Sorry about that.
Okay.
It was 2012, and I had a baby girl who was a few months old, basically, and that's when I took that leap. It was a funny story, actually. So I'm not going to mention names of companies, but when I was working in that company, I was Chief Business Development Officer. I had built myself up literally as a career path without spending a lot of time studying. I really didn't give a crap about studying in the region, right? I swear I'm that guy.
Guilty.
Right? I'm a double dropout, literally. I went into the University of Bahrain, I studied for a while, didn't like what was going on, dropped out. And then I went and did, after working for a while, of course, family pressure, please go get an education, get a degree. I went and, attempted to get a master's, an MBA with the experience that I had. And 6 months in, I just dropped out. And it's not because I wasn't doing well. I had great grades. I just dropped out. I really did not give a crap about education. I felt education was from life. And all my life, I've always had this knack of wanting to do something on my own. I've had this knack of wanting to help the family because I've seen my father in ups and downs. I've seen my father being successful and not being successful. And then I felt that it's my duty basically to actually do something and achieve a certain amount of success for them to rest. That was my main driver in the beginning.
You mean your parents?
My parents,
okay.
yes. Up until I got married, obviously. Then priorities just changed.
True.
Not change drastically, they increase, I think.
Exactly.
You start putting more pressure on yourself to wanting to do something, to succeed in something.
Especially the baby girl.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when Layla came in, Layla was literally, but Layla's my daughter, obviously.
Yeah.
She was literally something that changed.
Stop talking to me as a stranger.
Yeah, sorry about that. We know each other for a long time. But anyways, so yeah, but Layla came and it was completely different. I didn't have the same outlook on life generally.
Yeah.
I think I need to jump out of what I'm doing and stop taking crap from so many different people.
Okay.
And then start doing something that I have to do for myself and for the future of my kids. And what I mean by crap is I've actually had a glitch. I managed to close a massive few $1 million deal, which guaranteed me some sort of commission. But then I realized that the company that I was working with decided when I took leave to take that deal off of my book, off of the books, off of my name. So I wouldn't make that commission on it.
Okay.
And that was a trigger. That was a trigger that was like, you know what? Flip the table. Fuck all of you. Just let me get out of here.
Yeah.
And then what I did was I literally said, my resignation was funny. I remember because obviously I wouldn't close such a big deal without actually knowing the person I'm going to close the deal with. So I picked up the phone after I resigned. I took the resignation document, threw it in the face of the chief executive, like literally insulting throw, and I left. I think I had this macho issue, more or less, if you think about it. I didn't give a crap anymore, and which was very wrong, by the way. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't go and throw a resignation in someone's face. But anyways, when that happened, I left and I picked up the phone, called the client, told them, listen, I left. I just wanted to let you know if you need to deal with anyone, deal with someone else. So I was still doing some sort of a proper handover, but because I was in touch with that client and they knew me personally, they're like, Afa, you left? Okay, shut the phone. So the client ends up calling the business, canceling the deal. Then the company calls me, come back. I'm like, no, I'm not coming back. Yes, you did something. You canceled the deal. I'm like, I didn't cancel any deal. You can't prove anything. I just left. And then I started my first business. And like every other Arab / Bahraini, generally, my first $1 million idea was a restaurant. That's not $1 million idea, dude. Well, for me at least, it didn't work.
But there's a lot of influence, we have here. Okay, I want you to go deeper, and I want you to touch upon the family connection. Like, I want to know Hussain, the family guy, not the actual series, but the family guy Hussain, and the guy who behind all these successes and all the businesses and the struggles. So, I just want the juice that comes to the house. How did you feel? I know when you wear the hat, I know that Hussain, like that solid person who's always driven. But I want to know a little bit more. When you are back home and you wear the father's hat, touch upon that once you give us a little bit more about the when you started going into the business world.
There's a few aspects to this. So in the beginning, obviously there was, like you said, a lot of struggles. I've had so many movie moments where I was crying under the shower, fully dressed, literally. How the hell am I gonna find a way to spend money on my kids? How am I gonna buy Pampers for my daughters, right? My daughter, for my son when he comes or whatever. It was very difficult, but I vouched. I gave myself a promise that, hey, listen, no matter what happens, And it was like this خلاص, there's no way I'm gonna break this whole thing. No matter what happens, whatever crap or shit I face outside, I face it outside.
Yeah.
Just don't bring it home. Right next to the house, the door of the house, even if you're just about to go to jail, literally, for something that you've done or haven't done, per se, leave it at the door. Walk in, give your kids life, right? Give them, when I say give them life, not actually, not any, bring them to life, but actually give them life, because kids deserve a father.
Yeah.
I was lucky to have a father that was available most of the time, but my father was a very pessimistic person, as opposed to my mother being extremely optimistic. So majority of my life, this pessimism was basically a shadow over my head that I felt kind of like capped a lot.
Yeah.
Capped a lot of my potential going forward. I love my father to bits, and
Definitely,
he's
definitely.
a changed person now as he grew. When he saw his grandkids, he changed as much as I did.
True,
يعني.
true.
بس يعني I think I didn't want to be this kind of a pessimist. I didn't want negative energy in the house. So you see the struggle between me and my wife with the kids most of the time, because my wife is more realistic.
Yeah.
My wife is so she does get sad, she does get angry a lot. For me, I'm never angry at home unless something is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my kids always come to me to talk to me about their hobbies and things that they like to do. Obviously, other than the fact that I'm the walking bank and I have to pay for stuff. But they come in.
Yeah.
مثلا my daughter الحين ليلى ما شاء الله she's 8 الحين.
ما شاء الله.
She comes in and Papa, look at this drawing, and I immediately see potential in a drawing, in a sketch. And okay, let me stop thinking as a father and going like my daughter is the best artist in the world, and let me think realistically.
Yeah.
What does she need to become better? And I start telling her, listen, I'm going to give you a goal, right? There are 4 levels for you to become an artist, and I just made that shit up. Right? I just told her, listen, there's the first level, which is what you are, the hobbyist. Second level, which is the the amateur. Third level is semi-pro, and then you're a pro. There's no such thing in art, right? But I just said that.
You created a process.
I just created the process, and I told her, listen, you're at hobbyist level.
Yeah.
I need you to get to amateur level. And you know what? When you get to amateur level, or at least a little bit close, I'm going to buy you some stuff. What kind of stuff? You'll figure it out. So she ends up actually practicing day in and day out. She did. I mean, it has changed. She became better.
And then I ended that's a positive reinforcement. You know, that's amazing. Yeah.
So I end up bringing her a sketch, like a hardback sketch pad with a ton of pencils and pens and sketch pencils and pens. And she was like, wow, she enjoyed it so much. It made sense. I'm an amateur now. I'm like, no. But you'll get there. And then I gave her another promise. This time she kept on telling me, what are you going to give me? I'm like, listen, work hard, reach semi-pro level. Once you reach semi-pro level, I'm going to get you an iPad with an Apple Pencil, and then you can get into digital art. She's like, digital art? What's digital art? خلاص, I opened a new door.
Exactly.
Right? So the whole purpose is I don't want her to be capped. I don't want to go like the how old mentalities were, right?
True.
Leave this, focus on becoming a doctor.
Yeah.
Come on. Leave this, focus on becoming an architect. We were capped. It's enough that we're capped by education.
True.
They're training us to become mindless zombies that work for corporates. Why not I do something to take them out of that whole cap?
But what changed that, since you said that you come from, like, let's say, you're influenced by your dad.
Yes.
Apparently, from what you said. What shifted that in you?
I think it's the experience that I went through.
Okay.
Right? For me, when I left my first job, the only person that was actually the only 2 people that were very supportive were my mother and my wife. And then my siblings were a bit skeptical. My dad literally slapped me. No joke. I'm an adult, dude, right? So picture that. Are you serious? Responsibilities, kids, like that. I want to do something.
Yeah.
And
just
then
1 second. Did you feel like, or did he make you feel like
I knew nothing?
It's not only you knew nothing, that there was some sort of not only failure. What's the word I was looking for? You know, like, we tend to do our best to make them proud.
Yes.
You know, and was that a moment of disappointment?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, he felt disappointed.
Yeah.
I knew he was disappointed because the look was there.
Yeah.
The whole talk was there. And it felt like you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. Mind you, my father is not an entrepreneur. He's a banker all his life. He doesn't know this space. And I felt like because he doesn't know this space, he doesn't want me to get into it because he can't give me the proper advice for it. And don't get me wrong, I see now that what he wanted was the best for me in the end. He's my father. And I think what happened then is after he said I can't do it, I just took it as a challenge. And I ended up actually working and doing a lot of it as much as I can. Then he started to change. But then my failure hit. My first failure hit. The first flop. And then after the first flop hit, I lost a lot of stuff. I lost money. I lost a partner that was, partnered with me there. A lot of drama followed and all that sort of stuff. But I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
But that's not the case with him. He thought that, hey, I told you so.
Okay.
Yeah? Good luck.
Prove the point.
Yeah. And then that triggered something in me that went like, you know what? Even if I don't have a single penny in my pocket, I am not going to ask you for help.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to ask you for help. That's it. I want to do something to prove you wrong. That drove me to second business.
Okay. Before we head there, a message for parents.
Yeah.
Specifically based on this.
صح. احنا بالعربي نقول لا تكسر مياديف.
Yeah.
Right?
Do better, parents, please.
Yes, you have to do better. It's that. Kids today have a lot of different horizons to dabble into.
Yeah.
Especially with this little thing called internet, right? Especially with the majority of changes. I know social media, parents go, me as a parent goes like, oh, there's no way I'm going to get my daughter on TikTok or Snapchat. But then how are you going to prevent it, and for how long are you going to prevent it? Instead of denying them completely, give them a little bit of freedom and allow them to become creative by positive reinforcement, like you just said.
Yeah.
By giving them incentive, by showing them that, hey, if you do something and you make use of it in a certain way, then you are bound to get somewhere. And let them make mistakes.
True.
If you don't let the kids make mistakes, do you expect them to learn by just telling them that I made this mistake? No, it's different. When you will learn from a mistake, you cannot enforce on anyone else.
You could only guide, and that's about it, or just give an advice.
Exactly. It's like, hey, listen, I've been through this. This is what happened to me. You want to take a step into it, go ahead. But I'm just telling you that there's a possibility that you might hit a wall.
Exactly.
Right? That's how you approach it.
But be there for them when they fail.
When they hit the wall.
Yeah.
The first person to grab hold of them before they hit the ground after that wall hit should be you as a parent. Don't go like, I told you so.
Exactly.
The I told you so thing is literally a disaster. It breaks you.
You were about to say something else? Yeah, I felt it, Yafi. But yeah, I know. Like that's a breaker. خلاص. Like there's no going back after that.
خلاص.
Yeah, there's a huge wound right after when that shame look, and they have some sort of pleasure. Because they're like, بالضبط ما قلت I told you so, and they say it with pleasure.
Success for them.
Exactly, which is it's hurtful though.
Yeah, but let me put it this way. Alhamdulillah, again, I was blessed with a very optimistic mother.
Yeah.
My mother enforced and something in my head ever since I was a child. You're gonna get somewhere, and you're gonna do something. You're gonna be responsible for something big, and it was stuck. And till today, I feel like I am responsible for something big, one way or the other.
Yeah.
I have changed the life of somebody one way or the other.
Nice.
Doesn't matter something big doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be a billionaire. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to launch 500 businesses. No, it could be something as small as I changed the life of a single person. Yeah. And that person became someone that's special in a certain domain. And that to me was something that I believe what that meant when my mother told me about it. She's extremely religious. She's extremely religious. She does Quran. But then again, with us, she did not enforce a lot of religion. Religion was never enforced on us. She's not going to cap us. Sure. Right? And that really resonated well. This kind of balance that happened with my dad, I told you so, pessimism, my mother, optimism, and you can do better. Even if you flop, you stand up, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. No matter how much I even know when she shut the phone, once she forgot to shut the phone after I spoke to her and I heard her crying because of it. That really changes a lot in you. So yeah. So I think I was blessed with that kind of balance at home.
Alhamdulillah, that's
Yeah.
beautiful, man. No, seriously, that's
Yeah.
very beautiful. Walk us through the businesses. Yeah, like the ups and downs. Just real quick. Don't go in details.
Sure.
I would say.
So the first restaurant, like I said, the first restaurant, the restaurant, the first business that failed, it failed because of, I think mainly it was mismanagement by everybody involved. And then again, I don't think I should blame anything or anyone, because in the end, shit just happens, right? And this is business. You fail, you succeed.
Sure.
9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 businesses fail within their first year. So I should have. I didn't have that knowledge back then, but so that's why it was very difficult to get through it. But then after that failure, I thought, you know what? If I'm just gonna sit on my ass and do nothing, and just apply for another job and get back to the thing that taking shit from so many different people again and reporting to somebody, that's not going to work. Because once you taste entrepreneurship and that freedom of entrepreneurship and making your own decision, khalas, you don't want to take any shit from anybody.
That's what we say, like before heading to that, and we don't want to encourage people like in the wrong way, because you could do so well as a career.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Relax. I'm never gonna tell someone quit your job and get into entrepreneurship. In the end, you could be successful in your career path and career line.
Sure.
But then it depends completely on how you take the struggles that you face and the barriers that are in front of you, and how you're going to basically get through them.
I would say like self-awareness and having the ability to understand your capabilities, your resources and all that, understanding yourself and seeing if this is right for you.
One important thing is taking feedback. I'm being serious. When I was in the restaurant owner, if anybody told me anything, any advice that was valid or not, like, who the fuck are you? True. I know my business, you don't know my business.
Yeah.
But their advice might have been valid. And that was a big mistake. Second business came in. I wanted to do something that's in technology. So I wanted to leave restaurants. And 6 months within that business, I actually managed to fail very quickly because I didn't have the right, team set up. I didn't have the right resources available. And not just cash. Cash was, I could always muster something up. But then I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the experience. I tried to learn something from it. I couldn't. It was 6-7 months, and then you know what? That's it. Khalas, I quit. And there's nothing wrong with quitting if you understand that you're not going to go anywhere. That's very important for you to know, right? If you fail fast, learn fast. Absolutely. So that was, I think, my second business. Then I remember, like I said, the movie moment. I was at home in the shower. My daughter was sleeping. My wife was out. I was in the shower, fully dressed in my clothes, literally under the shower, banging my head against the wall. How the fuck am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? شلون بطلع روحي? I need some sort of solution. I was super stressed, super worried. Alhamdulillah, my daughter was sleeping, so I didn't have to hide anything. I just let it out. I let it completely out.
Could I ask you a question if you don't mind?
Please.
Feel free if you don't want to answer. Being in that position, partnership, was your wife involved in that?
In knowing that I'm going through shit? She knew I was going through crap. She did know. Of course, she was my first support scheme. And generally, when I wanted to get into business, she would be my first go-to. Exactly. But I think my wife was very preoccupied with my daughter, with the fact that, hey, we have kids. And plus, my wife came from, I think, a background that was how am I supposed to put this without sounding rude? I think a background that was, hey, everything was handed on a silver platter for her. So she didn't understand the concept of failure.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean? You can always pick yourself up and get into it, not knowing how hard it could be.
Male figure, the provider.
Because that's what her father is.
Yeah.
MashaAllah alayhi, her father is an extremely successful human being. He grew from nothing, like rags to riches. Literally, he's a perfect story of that. And he made sure that his children get everything they want whenever they wanted. And I do not blame her for anything. Bil'aks, my wife was the fact that she endured the days where I didn't have any money to spend in one way or the other, and stayed with me. For me, was enough support. That was to me a pillar that I could stand on.
I believe that even if we put ourselves in this position, if you come out and be open about it and be very transparent, I feel like this is where you need to learn to how to communicate. Don't forget that. Okay, you are a being. In the end of the day, being a male is not something like a badge you wear. يعني that would make you invincible. Yeah, invincible, right? So. I think this is where people make mistakes. Yani they think that because they're a male, I need to endure all the pain, all the suffering. I shouldn't put my parents or my partner into this shit that I created. And I need to do whatever it takes to get myself out without showing any hint of what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think this is where you kind of opened up and you were open about it.
It was in my that very weak moment, I think, that I had to open up at some point.
Yeah.
But then I give my wife credit for giving me the idea for my first successful business. And that was during that weak moment. I was in the shower, I heard a text, I felt that she wanted me to check on something. Came out of the shower all wet, picked up the phone, saw the text, and it was a screenshot of a food item on Talabat telling me, "Can you order this? I'm on my way back. Let's have dinner together." And I felt, I did not think, how am I going to pay for this? No, I immediately thought, I wish I could click on this directly and it would go to cart. And I was like, something came up, and then I immediately picked up the phone, called a couple of people, set a meeting. I immediately was able to, get resources. I knew I needed a tech guy, I needed a finance guy, and I need to start this. And then I found the two people, created the first model of the platform, small platform called Pickadot, and Pickadot was competing directly with Talabat, with a couple of unique selling points. One of them was a multi-cart solution where you can order from 6 restaurants at the same time. The second one of them was you can actually chat with people, and I can send you a screenshot of the item. You can click it and it will go to cart. Simple. That was my unique selling point. Nice. I knew I was not going to eat Talabat's market in Bahrain. Alhamdulillah, I was blessed by to raise around $1.5 million for it very quickly from a Saudi investor. And then I launched, and I capitalized on the expat community in Bahrain. Nice. Reached 12,000 weekly orders, give or take. I think that was our peak, 12,000 weekly. And the story of me selling that business was I think the same investor. Not I think I know that the investors that invested in my business decided to start intervening in the product. And the worst thing you can do for an entrepreneur that doesn't want to take shit from anybody, right? Especially that, is to actually start capping him and interfering in their product. So I started, butting heads with them until eventually they go like, Hussain, we'll buy you out. Khalas. Like, no, I'm not selling. It's still too early. You can't remove a founder from a business at this stage specifically. Like, la, Hussain, you know what? Here's a check. I'm like, la, there is no way. I pick up the check and take a look at it and go like, okay, you know what? You can take it. and that's I think, my
ego aside.
Khalas, leave it aside. And that's another lesson you need to learn.
Yeah.
Learn when to let go. Right?
Ego.
Let go.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with letting go.
Yeah.
Especially when it, gives you something that will allow you to help yourself and your surroundings, and then start taking care of yourself properly. Coming back to the point immediately, and feeling like a man, and I have to take care of everything and take all the pain. I was talking about this with a team member earlier, اليوم, funny enough, about how how women are very capable of expressing their feelings to each other, how they feel about something, and they just talk about it.
Yeah.
They talk about it, and that talking is a massive release. But then if a man talks to another man, that's our culture, and that's based on experience as well. If a man talks to another man, shfik daliya ant. That statement, shfik daliya ant, I think makes it extremely hard for men to talk to each other about problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes, in the end, a man has feelings too. So he's supposed to be able to talk.
Sure.
And that's the point of having a partner. That's the point of having a support scheme, I would say. And that support scheme could be a group of people, could be a friend, could be a mother, could be a wife, could be a sibling, doesn't matter. Yeah. As long as you have that support scheme, and you shouldn't be afraid to talk and tell people how you feel about what you're doing. It's not selfish. Relax, it's absolutely not selfish. It just puts you in a situation where the person in front of you is just going to be some sort of a cushion for you. And ultimately, you're going to be a cushion for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, after Pickadot, I paid a lot of stuff off that I had on me, some debt, still had debt. But then I launched immediately another business, a small business called Taslim as well. So Taslim was in the logistics space. We cater to peak hour delivery services for restaurants. And we broke even in 6 months.
MashaAllah.
Very quickly. And then 7th, 8th month in, I met my co-founder of my current business, Dr. Mustafa. Mustafa is a PhD holder in computer science. MashaAllah, extremely smart guy. Talked about our passion for data analytics and wanting to start something. A week after I met him, signed a contract to start a business.
Nice.
A week after, someone from a local family business decided to acquire Taslim from me and paid me for it. And then a week later, I started applying for funding. A month later, I got my first round of funding for InteGrab.
MashaAllah.
Right? So I think those two successes came primarily from the learning experience, from the fact that I had a support scheme back home, from the fact that I had a couple of kids back home. Saud came, by the way, when I was in Picket. So I had Layla and Saud now. And during that time, the second kid came in, and you can feel the pressure like jump on your head. Yeah. And it worked. Alhamdulillah. It worked.
Alhamdulillah. And then the birth of Deluni.
So Deluni was funny how it came to life.
Yeah.
So we launched InteGrab Inc. InteGrab Inc. was supposedly a data analytics company. We created some software solutions. We wanted to sell it to businesses to help them understand how to scale. And then we didn't know how to sell it. It was way ahead of its time for Bahrain, for the region, let alone Bahrain. So we approached a couple of telecommunication companies, and we told them we'd like to sell it through your sales agents as a third-party contract. طبعا all of them responded by saying we would love to, but we have a shortage in our sales team. Like, what kind of shortage? شرحوا لي يعني. Like, we have 45, 50 employees in sales. To satisfy our own pipeline, احنا نحتاج 200 employees. Like, okay, I know you guys pay dividends twice a year. يعني عندكم فلوس. Hire 30% of youth in the entire MENA region are unemployed, youth aged 18 to 30. No, we'd rather not bear the liability of paying salaries. Liability? that pissed me off, man. Really pissed me off. How can you call people liabilities without giving them a chance to prove themselves?
True.
So I thought, okay, what would you rather do? Advertise. Okay. Went back, did a little research, found out that $600 billion is spent on advertising globally on a yearly basis, of which the highest recorded return is like 8%. And that's just for a bunch of it. So $500 billion of money is just wasted on advertisement. Could have been rerouted to invest in youth to actually do something.
True.
So I thought, how can we solve this? Let me take these guys that want to sell product, upload it to a platform, just like Amazon or like an e-commerce platform, where people can buy. As the unique selling point here is people can register to become sales agents. مثل ما Careem or Uber, you can register to become a driver. You can register on Deluni to become a sales agent. Yeah. You refer this product to your friends and family. Do what we do best. أنا وأنت قاعدين مع بعض. I just bought a new watch. I love it.
Yeah, brag about it.
Go on, brag about it. Like, look at my watch, man. You go and actually buy that watch. So now, after buying that watch, what did I make? Nothing. But with Deluni, I allow you to, hey, I bought a watch. It's pretty cool. You brag about it. I send you a link. You buy it. I make a cash commission.
Yep.
Giving youth access to a source of income and not allowing those businesses to worry about salaries as much.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So that became the mission. That became the goal, to help youth to get access to a source of income.
And like if I would say, how I see you, like a social, like I think they call them social entrepreneurs.
Yeah, funny enough, our platform, because we combined e-commerce and gig economy, it's called social commerce. So, but yeah, I get what you mean.
I think, Lana, you're driven to having an impact on the community and helping as many people as you could. So I love that, and I love that about you, man.
No, thanks, man.
And you've touched on a lot of things today that sincerely made me have like a replay of who Hussain used to be and who he is today. Who is Hussain today?
How long have we known each other? Hamid, I remember we used to walk في العدلية ويا بعض, صح? I'm not going to say with who, but we used to walk. Anyways, that was a long time ago. We were kids.
I know.
Oh, anyways, so yeah. Who is Hussain today?
Yeah, who is Hussain today?
Hussain is a person that wants to put a solution to a problem. Hussain, I would say, is a person that continuously wants to learn And finally, Hussain is a person with a 10-year goal to build over 10,000 houses for families that require it, one way or the other.
MashaAllah.
So that's I think that would be Hussain. And I just recently became Hussain that wakes up at 5 a.m. to run outside, to take care of himself. So
Nice,
nice.
nice.
But that would be
A message to our gentlemen out there.
guys, don't be afraid to talk. Literally, communication is not wrong. I just told the guy I cried in the bathroom, and I'm telling you, so it's completely fine. Communicate. The key to any success generally is for you to be able to communicate, for you to be able to communicate to your family and friends, to your team in the office, to everybody. Communication is literally, for me, the number one point to get you from point 0 to 1.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
How people could find you?
They can find me anywhere. I can share my email address with you, and you can put it up there. You can contact me on Hussain@inagrab.com. I'm available on Al Majlis app. You're familiar with Al Majlis app. They can always book a time with me. There's a payment thing for the time, but again, it's not that I want to take payment. I'm more than happy to actually talk with anyone. You can always come into my office. My office is in the Kano Tower. Just drop me an email, let me know you're coming, and I'd be more than happy to host you, give you a cup of coffee, and listen.
And he gave you access if you would like to talk to him. He's a mentor as well. And sincerely, I would say the minute you speak to him, he's automatically a good friend.
Alhamdulillah. That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I can't say how much I enjoy this.
Absolutely, man.
It's been a while. It's really good to see you.
Likewise.
And eventually, thank you for bringing back the gentle in men.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely.